Okay, we are back. Let's go ahead and all right, next up, we have an interview for the Civil Service Commission. Is Mel Ferrier on there? I don't see anything. Becky, do you have any contact with Mel?
I talked to him by phone last week and I thought that he might be present today. I wasn't sure if it was via Zoom or in person, but
I have an iPhone on. Is this iPhone? Is that Mel? Mel, if you're on, could you unmute yourself and say hi? Okay. What? You don't know that's Mark.
Commissioner, we have Mel. Oh, he's coming into the chambers right now, so I'm going to turn on the video.
Okay.
Give me just a second. I'll go ahead and sit there. We'll get your video going.
Sounds good.
You should be good to go.
Hi, Mel, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, welcome. We thank you for coming in. We've got a set of questions that we're going to go ahead and we're going to ask you, and just understand that there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. We're just trying to get to know who you are, and these are pretty simple. So if you don't mind, if you can keep them brief, but if you really feel like you need to extrapolate on something, please do. But with that being said, I will take the first one. Commissioner Trask will take the second, and we'll just keep going back and forth. And at the end, you'll be given an opportunity to ask questions of us, just so you know. So what do you see as the function of the Civil Service Commission?
What do I see as a function? I really didn't know about the board until I was asked to be on it. My neighbor asked me if I would be interested. And I told him what I told him. I says, Mark, if you can't find anybody else, I says, let me know. I'll volunteer. That's about all I can tell you right now.
Okay.
That's a
Commissioner
great
Trask?
answer. All right. Why do you want to sit on the Civil Service Commission? You kind of answered that.
I just pretty much answered that. I didn't have any, I need to do this or I want to do this. Mark basically just talked to me, asked me and if I'd be interested, and he said they're looking for people. And I said, Mark, like I said before, Mark, if you can't find anybody, I'll do it. I'll sit and see what it's about.
Okay. Now, do you have any familiarity or understanding of the civil service for the sheriff's office?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All right. What law enforcement knowledge and or experience do you have?
As far as law enforcement goes, I know Casey, I've known Casey all my life. That's about as far as it goes. And Joe, my son. A few of my friends are, in law enforcement. My son was going to go into it, but didn't. So that's my knowledge on law enforcement as far as the ins and outs.
Okay. Now, the Civil Service Commission hires and supervises the chief examiner position, which currently works in human resources. What experience do you have supervising staff and or with employment law?
None.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a 6-year term. It typically meets once a month on the third Thursday. Is that an issue or a problem for you?
Not unless I'm not home or I'm away. I'm retired, so.
Do you have any conflicts of interest that could arise by serving on the commission?
No. I don't know. I shouldn't say no. I don't know because I haven't done it.
Well, Mel, this is a lot of fun. So final question, do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't. Not at this time.
I have an odd
though.
Yeah, I have an odd question for you, but the reason why is we can only have so many of the same party on this commission. So I need to ask you, do you have any party affiliation, any political party that you would consider yourself a member of?
A member of?
Yeah, or that you consider yourself, do you consider yourself a Republican, a Democrat?
I tend to lean towards Democrat, but I'm not always going to say I agree with everything.
Okay.
I can be independent about things. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Let's put it this way, right's right and wrong's wrong. Fair is fair, right?
I think I might agree with you on that. All right, with that, we want to thank you for coming in. We're going to take some time and we'll be discussing it later on, and we'll be getting back to you here probably within a week or so to let you know what the decision is, and that we wouldn't vote on it for until we get before a regular meeting.
Sounds good to me.
All right, thank you very much for coming in.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
That's quick.
Okay. Quick, Lindsay.
Okay. Let me go
Thank you.
back to- Thank you. Okay, next up. We're gonna go ahead and go to public health. Is Dave Windom on, or is he still there? He is. Hi, Dave.
Hey, I'm back.
Hi, back. Welcome.
So we got two items for you today. So the first one I have, and then we go to Ian. So the first one is a reallocation of homelessness assistance, and it's a 30,000. Excuse me. Pull this up here. It's $60,000 that's going to be sent back, reallocated. We can't spend this money, so this time of spring we look at what we can get spent out by the June 30th deadline. This won't be able to, so we're going to reallocate it so other communities can use the funding.
I see you already have that on the agenda. Is that accurate? Is that the same
Yep.
thing? Okay. Commissioner Trask, do you have any issue with it staying on the agenda?
No issues.
Same here. What else you got, Dave?
Okay, Ian.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is mostly a heads up. I met with the State Department of Health last week, and they said they're going to be issuing a press release about declining water quality in Annis Bay. They're avoiding the language downgrades because they don't know whether there's going to be any downgrades yet or not. But you could, potentially receive calls from the public when this press release comes out. What Annis Bay has had this kind of up and down trend in water quality, and over the last couple of years, they get to this time of year when they do their classification reports, and they see that water quality is getting towards the threatened and maybe downgradable stage. And then by the time when they actually do the official classification changes in August, water quality improves, and then they don't end up downgrading. So this has happened, like I said, the past several years. But they have to prepare us just in case they do have a downgrade. But at this point, there's no plans for a downgrade. They're going to essentially see what water quality does over the next few months, and then have a final decision in August. But you might have some calls from the public, inquiring about Annis Bay water quality.
Any questions, Commissioner Trask?
No, and I sure appreciate the heads up though.
I do as well. Do you have anything else for us, Dave?
No, other than ticks are out, so watch it. They're everywhere.
Politics. So, Commissioner Trask, do you have anything for Dave?
Not at this time. We did receive an email from CAC, so just take a look at that and
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just reading that, so yeah.
Yeah. Let us know what we need to do there. I received that same email also.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think part of it is I do need a copy of their bylaws to complete the record on our end of things for our contract stuff, so.
well, even
Right, I
when you
know
get a
some-
copy of bylaws, you need to make sure that the new bylaws were structured in a manner that was legally allowed
Yeah,
for it to be structured.
right.
You can get
Yeah.
a copy of anything. We need to make sure that everything was done appropriately.
right. And I know that they in the email they said that I should have one. I don't. They never shared that with me. So
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for Dave? Mark, you have anything for Dave? Well, all right, Dave. Thank you. Please drive through.
All right, thanks.
I'll catch up with you later, Dave.
Okay,
Get more information. I'm just wondering about the money we're returning for homeless program. So
okay.
All right. Next up, we have Kelle Rowen. Kelle, Community Development. Nope, we have Marissa.
Yeah,
Hi, Marissa.
Hi, so, and usually I process review rezones, but she did this one, but she is not able to be here today. So we have a rezone for Andrew Spears, and I'm gonna bring it up on screen real quick so we all know where it is. can you all see that?
Yep.
So, coming from Shelton, so, West Railroad Avenue to West Shelton Matlock, Road here. The parcel here is highlighted in that green. So the applicant's also in process for a boundary line, adjustment. And what he's looking to do is move this, commercial industrial zoning here, over here at the end,
Yeah.
over to the other side here where it's gonna link up with this parcel. So moving it over here. And really, it's more appropriate because if you see, it's already developed. He's got a bunch of smaller parcels here developed with housing. And the purpose is he's gonna be able to get another 2 lots here where additional housing would go here. So it's just a more appropriate use of the parcel to put housing there rather than commercial industrial right at the end of a commercial residential development.
Now, this is interesting to me because in all the years I was on the planning commission, we never would have rezoned something without it already being subdivided or separated out. I don't even know that you can rezone something with it being a split zone. We had some rules regarding that where we had to rectify those when we ran across them.
Yeah, so I haven't seen any rules. I don't know, Kelle processed this one, and I guess she's under the impression that she can go ahead and rezone it while it's in the process of getting that boundary line adjustment. I haven't seen anything specifically on having to have the boundary line adjustment done first. I know it does help for the purposes of having the new parcel numbers when you go to rezone.
But how do you rezone? You rezone a parcel, you don't rezone a portion of the parcel. I think we need to look at this one a little bit more. In all my years at the planning commission, I don't remember seeing, I don't know how you can do that because we specifically went through and cleaned up where we had split parcels and decided which one they were. They were either this one or they're that one. But for us to go in and start splitting them up and creating a zone inside of a parcel seems inappropriate to me.
Well, she might be able to explain it better. I know that, so let's see, I know she included in the packet here. Okay, let me pull up this other page real quick.
Mark, I see your hand. Sorry, it's so tiny. What do you got?
So I was wondering if with this rezone, it would create a separate parcel that was commercially zoned.
Yeah, hold 1 second, let me pull it up.
A
So
rezone doesn't create a new parcel though. You can create a new parcel and have it a different zone when it's created, but by rezoning, you don't create a new parcel.
yeah, that's correct. I know that, like I said, he's in the process of doing a boundary line adjustment that will create a new parcel around that zoning that he's wanting to switch over to the other end.
Well, just, I don't have an issue with rezoning, but I think this is just too premature. We can't rezone a parcel into 2 or 3 zones. It has to be a separate parcel number that you rezoned. When we go onto our website and you click on this parcel, it's going to have a zone for that parcel. It's not going to have 3 zones. It'll have a zone. Because if you create a zone within a zone, then you're also going to have another description.
Yeah.
So I just think this one's a little premature. I'd like to see it separated first and then ask for the rezone, not rezone it as a split zone, hoping it gets done.
Okay.
Commissioner Trask, what are you thinking?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, if you're looking at the map, I'm looking at the map in the packet. It makes sense what he's doing, but I'm wondering if you have to. I'm not, honestly, I'm not positive of what the steps should be. But it sounds like there's questions, and so yeah, if we could, I don't know, get a little bit more explanation.
Well, I'm kind of curious how you would even, because anytime you go through a rezone, there's a whole bunch of questions that get asked, and you have a big checklist. How do you do a checklist for a part of the property and not the whole property? So,
Well, and the property that it's at right now, it's not divided already, right?
Yeah, that one parcel in question is
Right.
not divided, so it's already split zoned, if you noticed on it, so.
yep. But again, I know that we went through a process where we're stopping that and fixing that because that we found that to be inappropriate. Because when it came time, it didn't fit. Especially we did that, especially in Belfair, I remember when we had quite a few of them when they just threw the overlay over the top of it, split properties, which made no sense at all.
Mhm.
So I'd like to, maybe we can wait until Kelle comes back, but I'd like to see us just table this and get a little better information. But looking at the drawn map, it looks like there's several portions you want to rezone within a portion. I'm sorry, Ken, but this one is for the staff. I apologize, but this is not for public comment. Thank you, though. Yeah,
So do you know, is there a time? Is this time sensitive?
I mean, she was wanting to get it on the action agenda tomorrow to put it on public hearing for May 21st.
I think the question was, it's kind of falling in that schedule where the commission has a regular meeting tomorrow and wouldn't have one for another couple weeks. And so that was the concern, is having to wait out another couple weeks before we could even do the public notice of the hearing.
but what is the impact on them to do that? What is the negative impact if we miss that 2 weeks? Does something happen on the property?
It pushes it out a couple, 2-3 weeks. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what the impact is.
When will Kelle be back?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I don't feel comfortable at this time putting it on because I have questions as well. So I've never been one to move forward if without knowing all of it or having all my questions answered. So if it's not time sensitive, I would rather not put it on the agenda until we get those questions answered.
And I'd rather not as well. And I'm gonna explain one more reason why. Can you imagine somebody coming in with a 5-acre parcel or so that is 5 acres, and they want to split it up 3 ways? Because that's kind of what this looks like. The public doesn't have access to the drawing I'm looking at now, where they've subdivided it 3 different ways. Could you imagine somebody coming in and doing that and asking us to give them 3 different zonings on their one property?
And when you say one property, you mean one parcel, Randy?
On one parcel, yeah.
Okay.
Why wouldn't they? I want this half of my property to be commercial. I want this half of my property to be residential. But yet it's one parcel.
So in what you would expect to see would be them to create a new parcel on the area that they want rezoned.
Yep.
And then request to move the commercial portion to that area and then make that portion residential.
Yeah.
So it'd be more than just a one-step process. And I agree with you, Commissioner. It seems to me like it would be if somebody's looking at the record and they say, holy crap, look at all this stuff that they did. it would be better if it was divided into different steps. Because that way there's less confusion for everybody, especially me at this point. But if we could do that, that would be great. And we also need to make sure that we've got a ton of stuff in here that's been added, that's being added to tomorrow's agenda. And I know that we are really trying not to do that. So, let's find out if this is time sensitive. I agree, it needs to be in maybe two different hearings. At least two, because and then up here at the top, or over here on the side of the Shelton UGA low intensity mixed use, there's also red lines up there. Is that a boundary adjustment?
Which sheet are you looking at?
I'm looking at page 26 of our packet.
Okay. The one that has the red lines and it says CI. So that page is what they intend. So that's the boundary line adjustment. That's what they intend, that one big parcel that we were looking at on the GIS.
Yeah.
That's what they're intending for the parcel to turn into after the boundary line adjustment. So that CI that they're proposing to switch from that west end to the east end would be a new parcel.
Yeah, and just for the record, I feel bad about not allowing Ken to speak on this one because oddly enough, me and him served together for years on the planning commission at the time. So I know he has information, but because we have a history of how we do things, that's the reason why we've kept it with staff. So Marissa, I think we need to hold off for at least a week. I don't see any reason why any extra time would make any difference. We've never promised anybody anything for a time wise, and if they had an expectation of it, I don't know where they would have got it or what they would thought. We have to, it takes time to go through the process, and we need to go through it correctly.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how would you a rezone needs to go before the planning commission. How would you explain this to a planning commission?
It did go through the planning commission.
I know, but how would you explain that to a planning commission? What that means is we have a planning commission that doesn't have all the experience to recognize that that's not normally how it's done.
Okay. Well, I will communicate with Kelle.
Thank you.
And I don't want to talk ill of our planning commission at all, ever, because they're volunteers and they're doing a great job. But Ken, if you wouldn't mind giving me a call this afternoon, that would be great. And then you can share your thoughts with me on this one, but that would be great if you could. Thank you.
Same with me, Ken. I'm curious to what you're thinking on that. Okay. So what else do we have for Marissa and for Kelle?
That was the only thing.
Okay. Sorry we couldn't help you get this one through today. We look forward to seeing it at our next briefing.
I'll tell Kelle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, we have Public Works, Loretta.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, we have kind of a somewhat easy agenda this morning, commissioners. We have some requests to put some news releases and a proclamation on the agenda, not tomorrow's agenda.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And happy to talk through them, but of course announcing our free vouchers in partnership with all kinds of great folks. And then we have the Public Works Fill the Truck event planned as part of Public Works Week and the proclamation for National Public Works Week. And certainly happy to provide more detail on any of those.
I love this time of year.
I know.
It seems like just yesterday we had the Fill the Truck event though, but
Breaking ground, right?
I like it.
Getting busy or busier.
So we're all okay with all the press releases. Is that correct, Commissioner Trask?
Oh, yes.
Okay. What else you got, Loretta?
Awesome. So I know that in your next briefing, you'll be taking a look at some potential new allocations for ARPA funding. And Public Works has submitted some requests along that line. And I did want to take a minute to talk about the log yard. You currently have $250,000 that was allocated for designing a sewer extension across 3 to serve the log yard industrial area. And we had prepared a request to move that funding to Romance Hill. And what I'd like to put before you this morning, commissioners, is to think about having us put out an RFQ for both locations, because I think it's possible we could use the $250,000 to design at both locations. And so I would ask that we just simply do that, put it out there, see what we get, and go from there. We may be able to accomplish both.
Loretta, that's great thinking outside the box. You and I had a conversation the other day. I like your solution much better. That's a good way to go about it. And let's see what we get, and then we can decide if we want to add or not. Commissioner Trask, what do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I'm looking forward to our ARPA discussion later today. But if we can use some of that money for design, and then what I don't like to do is do a design or spend money on a project and not be able to follow through.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my only concern. I just want to make sure that we're spending good money on a good outcome.
Something that's useful in the future. Right. Absolutely. Yep.
So for now, are we okay with having her go out for both? Mark,
or is that going to be part of is that going to be part of our ARPA discussion?
I'm assuming that it would be part of your ARPA discussion, commissioners, but just wanted to provide this as a little bit more detail as you go into your deliberations here in a little shortly.
Okay.
Mark, go ahead.
Instead of making a decision right now, I think I'll want to wait until we do the ARPA discussion.
Okay.
The thing that I was going to mention, Commissioner Trask, is that when we get these types of designs completed, it gives us information that then we can go out and apply for other funds to actually implement the design. So I heard you say that hate to do a design and then never follow through and implement, or that's what I imply, or I'm implying that was your intent. But I think that when we actually have a design and figured out kind of how it helps us plan, helps us determine when individuals come in and say, hey, we want to put sewer into this area, we can say, well, here's the standard to do it to. Or we can actually have the design side of it completed and an estimate done, and then we can go out and look for other funds that potentially are available.
Yeah, when it's not speculation, it's actually going to places. There are a lot higher chance of actually getting grants and funding.
Yeah, I just don't want to see a project be ignored after we've spent money on it. And so, I want to make sure that we have the resources to do the projects if we spend the money on it. So that, I'm on the Public Works Board, and there are occasions where people go out for design, and then we'll call them back, and because the cost or whatever was so extreme, they were not able to follow through. So I'm not saying that that's what we would do. I just want to make sure that when we're spending money, we're doing it appropriately.
And bearing in mind that when we do these things, we get it out there, it's for the developer usually 99% of the time for them to pay for what we put together to actually get built. So it just depends. Either that or we go after grants and stuff when we're already hooking up already existing people. Richard, I see your face. Did you want to talk to us?
No, I'm sorry. I came in the middle of this. I was like, oh no, ran in here and got on.
I thought you had this great revelation for us. We're waiting with bated breath to.
The other, if I could
Please.
to another ARPA project. I know Commissioner Trask, you were asking about the tipping floor for the solid waste facility and maybe looking at, hey, how come that's not on the list that we submitted? And after taking a look at and talking with our engineering side of the house, we feel that how that design and implementation is going to carry out, we would not be ready for ARPA funds. We think that ARPA for solid waste would be better spent on the upgrades to the booths if commissioners choose to do that. So definitely had your thought in mind and are not ignoring that, but yeah.
And you probably don't have time, but still keep in mind the scale for North Mason.
Yes, yep. Same situation,
Yeah.
Commissioner. That takes a lot more
I agree.
planning to carry that out. Oh, let's see, other things, just a heads up, I will be on vacation next week. And so I know that life will carry on just fine, but I will be out of the office next week, and certainly Mike and Richard and Stephanie and the rest of the team have got you in good hands. So
Wow, it's that time of year again.
I know it is. Looking forward to a little bit of traveling to go see my sister and brother-in-law and see some different part of the country. So that'll be interesting.
Well, fun.
Yeah.
Sure, you bring back
Definitely.
pictures and show me.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's see, what other things? Dave Smith got a hold of DOT just to follow up Commissioner Netherland on the SR3 lighting. So they're on that. And I guess the other item, sent a request over to Mark. So Mark and Stephanie and Richard and myself will be taking a look and preparing for any and all potential questions for the hearing tomorrow, and certainly happy to answer any questions or follow up with commissioners about the utility rate hearing and any preparation for that.
I just got a text that is a little bit of a shocker. Not normal what you usually see. I don't know if you've seen it yet, if it went to you,
Yes.
but them wanting to do the full rate.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
When you say
Yeah.
them, which one?
I had they want to pay
North Bay.
165 a month.
At which one?
North Bay.
Wow.
That's one person. Just bear in mind.
Yeah.
I just, you don't usually have those. When we were talking, and let's talk about that for a minute. In all the different places that we've been, we've heard some pretty interesting things. And I know Loretta is looking at some new rates that I thought we should consider and look at for structuring it closer to like a PUD where they have a lower entry level for gallons. And Loretta and staff have done some great work when it comes to that. We've had some pretty angry people. We've had some people that were very open and very understanding of what's going on. So I don't know. I'm pretty proud of them. It was tough in a few places, but proud of our staff and proud of how it went now that's over with. And we'll see what tomorrow holds and how many of them come in angry. But I think there's plenty of new options now. And I look forward to that conversation because they're not all bad options. It's going to be harder for a few, but not all bad options.
Yeah, a huge hats off and thank you to Stephanie and certainly Richard. There was a ton of research that went into what other utilities are, how they are formatted, and then just building spreadsheets and ways to analyze the information and be able to respond to questions that our community members, Mark, yourselves, commissioners may have. So that's a bunch of work to be able to be flexible and to be able to put together various scenarios. And I am very grateful for Stephanie and Richard's fantastic work on this. And again, a big thank you to Wendy, who attended all of the outreach meetings. Wendy is our person that is on the front line for calls and taking in payments. And she wanted to make sure that she was well informed and connected to our customers and hearing firsthand what concerns and questions they may have. So yeah, really proud of our team and thankful.
You should be. Mark, you've attended those. What's your reaction?
I'm not surprised by the reaction from the public. I think one of the things that is difficult for us to do sometimes is to really present information in enough detail that people can understand things, but not so much detail that we just overwhelm them with information. And so I really appreciate Stephanie's willingness to go back and kind of develop these rate scenario spreadsheets where she can plug in a number and see the impact, right? So as we're looking at some of these utilities and seeing how much they're being supplemented either by the general fund 0.09 or REIT 2, I think it's important for those individuals to know and understand what the county has already contributed and continues to contribute to their utility in order to keep their rates where they were for so long. But as we look into the future, that's not something that's really feasible to continue to do, and we're going to have to make some changes. But looking at alternative ways to see how we get there, it's on some of our utilities, they're so far behind that looking at it and saying, hey, I'm going to give you a 300% increase is we all know that's not super realistic. So Stephanie went back to the drawing board and looked at what could that progression potentially look like to help people not see it all at once, but also help the commission know here's the amount that we're going to have to continue to supplement this utility. The smaller ones are the most difficult, Randy. So the ones that we only have 147 people on there. Pretty tough to spread anything over 147 people and not make it impactful.
Yeah. But at the same time, we spent the time to explain we're 80,000 a year every year. Other years where we've eaten 300 and some odd thousand in order to keep it going. There was some that you saw that were very angry. Did you ever get that information to that one gentleman, Loretta? Did he ever come by and pick it up?
He messaged, I did message him on Friday, and Stephanie quickly gathered information. It was ready for him on Friday, but he said he would be in this afternoon to pick it up.
Okay, thank you.
And then there was a second gentleman that had requested similar information from Richard, and that was emailed to him on Friday.
That was probably the other gentleman that wanted the breakdown.
Yep.
That's good.
I had a voice message from somebody that wanted the last 31 years.
That's one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually left him a message thinking I wanted to get further clarification on what level of detail he'd like. But it sounds like you guys might have already taken care of that. So that's great.
Yeah, we talked to him. That's what she's got prepared to deliver to him today for what they have.
And it was not 31 years.
No. You
For
gotta
better
have
or worse, but a good, gosh, I want to say 12 or 14. I don't think Stephanie's on here, but definitely a good history.
Yep. Okay, do you have anything else for us, Loretta?
I think that's it, commissioners.
Commissioner Trask, do you have anything for Loretta?
No, just if we could have people drive out Cole Road. They got Lynch and Cole fixed, but Cole Road and that track is just the railroad crossing. That's awful. It's a pain in the for all of us. It's not
A pain in the what, Commissioner?
it's a pain in my tires, my car.
Good answer. Wait, nice save.
Oh, thanks for making me think.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Trask, I know that we made some improvements, I want to say last year, to the crossing, and people had said, maybe it was 2 years ago now.
Oh, it's
People
been
were
about 2 or
happy
3.
with that
I think it's been
crossing.
about 3 years.
Okay, and so is it settling again?
Oh, goodness.
Or is there,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah. If
So
you don't
it's
slow
changed.
way down, I mean, slowing down is great because you should anyway be around that corner.
right.
But so let me just say, my husband hit it going the speed limit, but he hit it way too fast in my car.
Uh-huh.
And I said, dude, you've got to slow way down.
Okay.
Poor guy.
Is there a dent in the headliner?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Alright.
just you might have to take it because if you're in a certain spot on that
Yes.
track, it's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
But if you don't hit that spot,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel it.
Yep.
And the neighbors will probably hear it.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And then thank you for forwarding the other, the Pickering agate email.
good,
And we'll
good.
take a look at that as well. Yep.
All right, fantastic.
Okay.
I believe that's all I have. That's all I'm aware of. Let's put it that way.
All right. Anything else for us, Loretta?
Nope.
Mark, anything you want to throw in parting shot on the way out? Okay. All right, then next we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna move into you, Mark, support services.
Alrighty, so it's gonna be the Diane show first thing this morning. So Diane, you want to talk about your items?
Sure. Good morning. So Pete Lazarenko and Kathy McDowell have applied for the Housing Authority. So I wanted to know if the board wants to interview them.
Now, I know both of them. How many positions are open?
One.
One? Okay, then we
Yes.
need to talk about it. Just so you know, Commission, I just heard, was it yesterday or the day before, that they had a vote? I think it usually goes the other way around, but I think they had a vote on an applicant, but I'm not sure they know how to do it.
Yeah, I think they were misinformed because they sent an email saying they took a vote to appoint Pete. But yeah, it's the commissioners that make that appointment.
Right. Yeah, I got that email too, and I was I was thinking that they might be a little confused because I knew that we had not spoken about it yet.
Right.
So do you know, Randy, do you know if they knew that Kathy McDowell was putting
I hadn't heard it until just now that Kathy McDowell had put her name in. But I know that he actually, I think, went to the meetings. They all talked it out, and I don't know if Kathy's ever been to one of the meetings, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I know Pete would be a great addition to it.
I agree. And also that would help bring in some veteran connection, which I think is huge. When I heard that he was doing that, that's the first thing that crossed my mind is veteran connections on the housing is never a bad thing. I love Kathy, but
Oh, I think we all do. Yeah.
yeah, but that's a heck of a thing to bring on is a veteran, especially one that's actually working with them in the room over there.
Right. So now we do have a veteran. Well, Dell is not on there anymore. I'm looking at it right now. We have Becky, April, Dell, no. I'm sorry, wrong name.
Yeah.
Dell is on there.
But he's not representing veterans.
George, and then a vacant.
Yeah.
So April is a veteran.
Yes.
Yeah. Is she still working within the people to get them housed and stuff? I don't know that. Pete actually works to get them housed, get them funding and stuff. That's what he's.
No, she does. She's on.
She still does.
Yeah. But I mean, I think I adore Kathy. I just think that Pete would be able to give them what they need right now.
And they already vetted him themselves.
Which I think is kind of funny.
So are you recommending the appointment of Pete?
I think so.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll put it on the May 7th agenda.
Okay.
Thank you for not putting it on tomorrow's.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing good so far.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we may need to do some cleanup. I'm looking at the agenda. I think we were a little
Hey, I was getting out of here without buying lunch today. Leave me alone. Save me money.
Yeah, this
We'll
is-
see by the end of the day where we're at.
Yeah.
But then also I'm bringing forward the proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month. Mary Traxler had brought that up at the April 9th commission meeting, asking if the board would do that for May. Are you good with that?
Is that on for tomorrow?
It is.
Is it already on there?
It is.
And if you took it off, you'd call for special change it off the
No,
agenda again.
that's fine, since we have how many days, a week and a half before the 1st of May?
Yes, otherwise it would be the May 7th agenda.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, what else we got?
Oh,
Commissioner?
Diane, you still have Brian, Eric Johnson
Yeah.
Day.
Oh, yeah, that got on there. So, and I know we circulated that, so the board's good with putting Eric Johnson's proclamation on for tomorrow per Wasak's request.
I am good. I wish we could have made it a little bit more spicy, but we probably shouldn't have.
I think it's spicy enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of tongue in cheek and some kind of internal jokes. And Eric's been with the organization for so long and known so many people and has so many relationships that it makes a lot of sense to all of us that have known Eric and worked with Eric for years. I think that one of the things that Diane and I discussed a little bit was what happens, 15 years from now when somebody goes back and pulls this agenda item and says, what is this? Yeah, I mean, I think it's enough out there that people reading it would say, yes, this is obviously tongue in cheek, but definitely recognizes Eric for his contribution.
Right. No, I think it's great.
And then we'll make sure after tomorrow we get it to Wasak.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then I didn't know if you wanted to talk about Mel Ferrier's appointment now or later.
The what one?
The one we interviewed first today.
Oh,
I think maybe we should table that one for a moment
Okay.
and have a discussion. I'm not ready to appoint yet. Are you comfortable with that, Commissioner?
sure.
Okay, thank you.
I want a proclamation like that when I retire.
Yours will be even spicy.
Oh, it'll be something, that's for sure.
Well, if you spend 30 some years
You're gonna
working
be
in
here for
that field,
30 some years?
then I'm sure you'll get one of those, Mary.
Or you keep beating him into submission and he'll put it on the agenda for you.
I don't know. Okay, so I had committed to coming before the board quarterly to update you on our strategic plan and continue doing so this year. So just to review that our mission is to develop and manage people first human resources, policies, programs, and provide expert consultation services and solutions in an efficient and customer-focused manner, and to provide our employees and volunteers with what they need to provide services to the public. So our mission, which obviously falls under what the county's mission is to driving our measurable success and our goals in HR. And so our first quarter update, we have 3 contracts that are open and in current negotiations right now. We started advertising the relocation, moving expenses, and tuition assistance in our job postings. We have the 24 non-rep class and comp study underway. Final updates are due to HR on Friday, the 26th. Anything submitted after is not going to go this time around. It will have to wait till next time. I'm going to go over the NeoGov stats in the next briefing item, but our time to fill for continuous, non-continuous is 33 and 35 days respectively. We're averaging about 14 applicants per recruitment, which I think is a pretty good number at this point. Obviously, we have way higher, way lower, but that's around what the average is. And then we've attended 2 recruitment events. We had a great time at North Mason High School on the last Thursday. We had to go for the career fair, which was really fun. We saw the sheriff and a couple other groups and got some great ideas for other things. So The big thing this quarter was we implemented a learning management system in Teams, and I wanted to give a shout out to our new HR admin assistant too, Chris, for helping us get that done. We've added 15 trainings, which is awesome, and have some really great involvement. For our systems, we're still waiting on the chart of accounts before we can implement position control, which will then allow us to utilize Munis, so still waiting on that one. Commissioner Schutte did his town hall. 100% of our HR team have development training plans in place. We spent over 30 hours in the field this quarter. So we were out with corrections, the patrol, appraisers, public works. We went to the roads and transfer station. And then we spent some time over in the courthouse with the different departments over there as well. And then for legal compliance, we had a volunteer policy that was updated, which will be really great. And then our risk manager found 4 major risks that were mitigated and saved the county some costs, which is great. Any questions on our first update for the year for the strategic plan?
Just a comment. I think it's important that Mason County knows how lucky we are to have you and Mark here. You guys have progressed. You've made some great changes. And so I just want to thank both of you for the stuff that you're doing. I just simply want to thank you both for what you're doing.
Appreciate
Maria
it.
and her
I'm
team
not
is
even
doing
gonna
a
add
good one.
I added enough last 2 weeks. I'm done for the day. No, I'll ditto what she said.
No, we're having a good time and there's so much to do. So it's fun. And I think we have an amazing team over here in this department that work really well together. So I appreciate the comments. I'll pass it on to the team. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to move into our NeoGov hiring data. As you remember, we launched May 1 of 23. So coming up on a year, we're really excited. And I think this was probably one of the better investments that the commissioners made last year, so that we can track, we can make it better for applicants. We can, have that candidate interaction, which was a #1 recruitment tool. We've also touched base with the sheriff's office and think that we might be able to collaborate a little bit more between public safety testing and NeoGov. So all the data currently is excluding the sheriff's office, but we're going to hopefully get on the same page and move in the right direction and partner, which will be a really great opportunity. So just a review, we have 2 different types of postings, continuous versus non-continuous, and the definitions are on the first page. So a continuous posting doesn't have an anticipated closing date, but we review them upon receipt and then we can close it at any time. So a little more flexibility. However, non-continuous postings sometimes are a great tool if we need to, there's urgency, we need to surround it, or we know we're going to get a lot of applicants. So for example, the customer service specialist up front in your office, we know we're going to get a lot of applicants for that. So we always try to have a non-continuous posting as a tool for that. According to SHRM, average time to fill is still around 36 days industry-wide. For the first quarter of this year, we are for continuous postings around 33 days to fill and 35 for non-continuous. So we're within that range. However, there is a 4-day dip between last report and then a 6-day improvement from last report, respectively, for continuous and non-continuous. So good, all good things. On the first page that has a chart, we compared 23 to first quarter of 24 data. So you can see in the pink or whatever color that is, our total days to hire, and then 24 is the blue. So you can see some departments, had a really great improvement. So like health services, and then we had some that kind of actually continued to increase. So keeping those, and then some obviously weren't recruiting last year, so there is no data or aren't recruiting this year. The next one on the chart is our department time to fill. The separate steps in the system. So the pink is, average days that the app is on the eligibility list. So average time HR is looking at it to make sure it meets min quals. The blue is once we refer it over to the hiring manager. So we've looked at it, it's sent to the department, and the hiring manager needs to decide what they want to do. Do they want to interview? Do they want to wait? Do they not want to interview that applicant? So you can see that's kind of where the numbers start to climb a little bit. And then there's an average of days for, once we're ready to make a contingent offer and get that person in the seat. And then total days to hire. So how long it takes, all those numbers combined together. And then we did break it down by class spec, which was a request this last time from the commissioners. So average of 33 by department. But you can see a couple of these numbers have really continued to rise. And then the next tab is time to fill for continuous postings, and then non-continuous. And then the other thing that we were able to start collecting, which I think is interesting, because the thing about NeoGov is it continues to add functionality. So one of the new functionalities was we can actually pull EEOC data. So we can pull, how many of which ethnicity applied, how many were eligible, referred, interviewed, offered, and then ultimately hired, and then a conversion rate that goes with it. So another kind of interesting tool for us to use. And like I said, they're continually adding new stuff for us to play with and report on. So we're really enjoying that aspect of NeoGov. Any questions on our hiring stats?
Yeah, Mary, I have a question on a specific one. Back in we just had a meeting of our directors and elected officials. During that process, we found out that in the prosecuting attorney's office, we were 3 lawyers down. What are we doing for that? Is there anything special we could do to help that process?
So we did obviously the hiring bonus, and I think that Mike Dorsey and Peter Jones are going up to a law school fair at is it UW, Mark?
I believe so.
Okay, and along with all the other recruitment tools that we're using, unfortunately, I think Peter had mentioned that the AG's office is starting this new task force, and like I had mentioned before, Kitsap County's hemorrhaging attorneys, which is a competitor of ours. So, and just law school enrollment is lower from what I've heard. So I think that we're doing what we can at this point, but I'm definitely open to suggestions or ideas if there's a pipeline or talent pool we're missing somehow.
I don't have anything. I was hoping that there was something that we can do to help you spread out a little bit further. 3 is a huge number in that office. So if you see any opportunity or something, please let us know so we can be more proactive on that one. If it drops down to 4, I don't know what to say.
So we do have some opportunities, Randy, with the legislature came out with a new program that really is targeted at rural counties like Mason County to help get internships. So I think that's part of the reason that Mike and Peter are going to go up there to talk to the law students and say, hey, check out what it looks like to work on the public side. And if you want to come down here, then it would support us with some funding to pay for them during that internship. Hopefully create some relationships that then foster into them coming to work for us. I think Peter probably has more, and I noticed that Tim Whitehead is actually on here, so he could correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Peter has the ability to utilize individuals with less skill sets on lower level cases. But I would imagine that the prosecuting attorney's office really requires you to have your JD before you start doing that work.
Tim, is there anything you wanted to comment on this?
I'm just walking in from the printer. I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that.
Okay, my apologies. We were just talking HR, and we're at the end of HR and NeoGov and what we're doing and how we're going out for hiring. And I made note that in our last directors and elected meeting, we found out that the prosecuting attorney's office was 3 down, and I was asking what we were doing to try and help alleviate that before it gets to be 4 down.
Update on that. We have somebody starting on May 1st.
Good.
So that's fantastic news. We appreciate everything that HR has done to help us get the word out.
Yeah.
Then
Then they started asking about doing some trainee programs as well in the public defender's office, but may not be able to do it in your office, and wanted to know if you wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, there's some difficulties that we may have that the public defense office doesn't have, but it's certainly something, the Rule 9 avenue is something that we're starting to look into. Something we haven't had to do before, but I think it's something that Mike and I are going to start looking into to see if that can work in our office as it has in Peter's office.
Okay. If you see an opportunity that we need to know about funding or whatever, please let us know.
Appreciate that.
Okay, Mary, what else you got for us?
That's all I've got. I did want to mention that the law schools, we are using Handshake, which is all colleges, universities, whenever we post jobs. So trying to target, to your point about internships or the students while they're in school is a priority of ours. So we are using a tool called Handshake for that. I just think we're in a lawyer drought. I don't know how else to put it.
We are, and from what I understand, that's nationwide, so it's hard for anybody to hire. I don't know what Kitsap is doing, other than probably stealing from JAG, but
Panicking.
maybe they've raised their taxes. We haven't, but maybe they have. And
Don't say that. I live there.
sorry.
You're not sorry.
Not
The only
really.
other thing I wanted to add was we had a extremely productive meeting with WorkSource on Friday. We are going to partner with them on a couple things. We went to Kitsap, speaking of Kitsap's career fair this last month, and we noticed a couple things that we could maybe do a little differently. We'd like to have our own career fair here in Mason County, and that's going to be a goal of ours and will be added to the strategic plan. But one of the barriers we saw was people who are coming into a career fair don't necessarily have their NeoGov profile set up. So you only have to do it once and you don't have to cart around resumes anymore. And it'll also send you alerts when a job that you're interested in opens or changes or closes. It's also an opportunity for us to have that candidate interaction. So like texting, emailing, all of that with a candidate. When people were walking into Kitsap's career fair, they hadn't necessarily had that set up. So we decided we wanted to remove that barrier before we have a career fair here in Mason County. So we are going to partner with WorkSource, and we are going to do 2 different workshops that we as the employer will directly participate in. And WorkSource will provide a corral of computers, and we'll hold 3 different hour-long workshops on one day here in the South End at their office, and then another day up north. We're hoping to get the library. And what we'll do is we'll walk the public or job applicants or whoever wants to register and come, how to set up a NeoGov profile in the system. And then we'll also help them if they want to apply for a job right there on the spot. We'll help them get their app in and walk them through that process. WorkSource is already familiar with NeoGov through the state, and so they'll be on hand to help us as well. They were very excited, we're excited, and they said that when the employer participates directly in events like this, there's usually much higher engagement with the public and the community. So we're really excited. We're hoping to get both those dates set up in June, but I will, once I have everything solidified, we'll come back and brief officially on that. But that was huge. We were really excited. WorkSource is excited. And they are going to handle registration, the computers, pretty much everything. We just have to show up and teach people how to do it.
Mary, I had read, I think it was a little over a year ago, that an important factor when doing these types of fairs and bringing people in is to actually feed them. If you feed them, they feel like part of the family, especially if you're doing it for things like law enforcement and stuff. You show them that come and join this team, this family. And just if that becomes an opportunity, I think we can pull together as commissioners and maybe help to take care of some of that food and feeding if that becomes an opportunity.
Love it.
Okay, do we have anything else from Mary? Mary, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Trask, I'd like to ask for a 5-minute intermission, and then we can come back if you're okay. Okay, we will be back at we'll say 10:41. All right, welcome back, everybody. Mark, what do you got next?
I got Jen to give you some financial reports.
I love this part.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead and share my screen. So we have the March financials. beginning on page 2 of your packet is the general fund revenues. We have received through March of this year, 9,857,000, close to 58,000, which is 22% of our budgeted total revenue. And compared to last year, we had received 10,031,000 approximately, which was about 24% of the total budget for revenue. Moving on to the treasurer's revenue detail. We received this year through March 6,132,000 compared to last year about 6,268,000. So looking pretty consistent there, a little bit lower this year, but we did have the reversals for the end of the year, the traffic diversion, which always makes it look kind of odd until that money is collected later on in the year and turns positive. Moving on to the expenditures, we have expended through March in the general fund about 11,415,000, about 22% of our budgeted expenditures, compared to last year, 11,196,000, which was about 24% of our budgeted expenditures. So everybody is looking pretty good through March. The benchmark, of course, is 25%.
So on the revenues, just to double check, the biggest culprit is the non-departmental, but that's just a time thing, right? Just, it still comes in. It's just.
So the major difference there was that we receipted in, I think it was 450,000 roughly in January or February for the LATCF funds. And so, no, we will not receive that money again. That's a one-time deal.
Okay, but the idea that we're $605,000 off, is that usually though comes in, if we got it budgeted though, it's budgeted to come in. It's just a timing thing on this.
This is just the difference between last year, 1.8 million, and this year, 1.2 million.
But there's no worry about us getting that money, is what I'm saying, because it's non-departmental, that's usually going to be covered. It's not that come up short.
Yeah, I mean, the 5.6 million budgeted there to receive this year compared to last year. I'll have to look at what the difference is there between the 5.6 and the 4.7.
Please, just to keep us in line, because that's the only real difference I see between the 24% and 22% now.
Yeah, I know, like a little bit of that is going to be like our internal allocations were slightly higher in 2024 compared to 23. And other than that, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'll have to dig into that.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
You're welcome. On the special fund, the 6-year recap. So in community development revenue, we're up, but that does include all their revenue. So that's going to include the ARPA funding in there. So that's, a little bit, I don't think much though. I want to say that's about 35,000. But yeah, we're way up in the community development revenue. So that's a good sign, I would think. Our property taxes are pretty flat, a little bit lower this year compared to last year. The sales tax is up slightly, so that's a good sign. The criminal justice taxes and entitlements are up slightly. Prevention, the homelessness prevention filings, that's up a little bit, which is good compared to this time last year. Lodging taxes up. And REIT is up slightly over last year, so that all looks like good news.
Yeah, but that's actually scary because that's a constant where it's backwards, and that's why the homeless thing is coming from those home sales.
Yeah, I mean, as long as interest rates are up, I would think people are not going to be refinancing, you know, like they were when the interest rates are down. And until the Feds get the inflation under control, I don't think we're going to see interest rates go down anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that the REIT is actually just on the purchase of homes. So like when an individual goes to refinance, I don't think that we would see real estate excise tax on that. But
No.
but yeah, absolutely does, like what Jen was saying, is it impacts the numbers of homes sold. And there's always a difference, right? So value of the home being sold and the number of, so as the value goes up, we don't have to sell as many to get the same amount.
Yeah, they've done some changing on the stuff, but on how it's done, where it used to be 1.78, now it's on a sliding scale. But at the same time, this is where we were the last year, and we're dipping down now. We ended up coming back up, so it wasn't as great a loss, but we still ended up with what, 28% loss, 20+% year over year. So if that continues, that's not good.
Well, 21 and 22 were obviously outlying years, right? I mean,
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so moving on to the sales tax, and in your packet, this says February, it should be March. So we'll make that change before it goes on the website. So the sales tax that we received in March is up slightly over last year. We received 674,000. We're projected to receive over 9.5 million, and we budgeted 9.2 million. So sales tax is looking good. It's slowed down the increases that we were seeing in a couple of years ago. We were seeing about 10%, and the year before that about 20% increases. So now it's kind of evening out. So that is just fine. I would think. Continues to go up slightly, so that's great. On the 6-year financial recap, so we have about close to 26 million in cash, and then you can see all of our reserves. I went through and updated those. So we have about 6.8 million unreserved cash. And again, on our budgeted revenue, we're at 22% in receipts compared to the budget, and 22% of expenditures compared to the budget. So looking very consistent there compared to
Roughly, what does that 2% equate to?
I'm sorry, what was the
2% difference? Roughly, what does that equate to?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, it's an accumulation of many things.
All right, so 51. Okay. That'd be 1 million.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant it's like.
Nope, I got it. I figured it out.
Expenditures. So the special fund cash balances, we are close to 62 million.
Yeah, hold it right there. Russell.
so Russellwood, you'll see that.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, but we already have done a transfer into Russellwood at the beginning of the year to help keep them from going into a negative cash position.
Yeah, which is not atypical of the beginning of the year for Russellwood. Normally we're scrambling in January to help them out, get that REIT transfer over, or REIT 2 transfer over to their fund. We still have the 100,000 that we budgeted in general fund, or coming out of the general fund to help them out, and we have not had to tap into that yet. So when I go through their budget and change their actual beginning fund balance in June to the actual cash, as we've done in the last few years for all the funds, it looks like they are going to need that money, to help them out through the end of the year.
So this isn't including that money then? So
It is
we're,
not including the 100,000.
okay, that's good news. Thank you.
But it includes the 62,000 of REIT that we transfer in there to cover their debt payment. Is that correct, Jen?
That's correct, but I mean, we typically do that transfer every
Yeah.
year before
Yeah.
we for them.
But I knew we did the 100 and I was wondering, because that would make us way backwards if that was the case. That's good news. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
And this is obviously water and sewer combined, Commissioner.
On the motor pool, we've expended 16.1% or 16.1% of our total budget of 1.935 million. We've expended 311,735. And we have not had any capital upfit expenditures so far this year. We should start to see some of those capital upfit expenses come out pretty soon. We're getting a couple of vehicles in shortly.
When did we start this?
So I have the rates pretty much done. We need to go over them one more time, make sure everybody's on the same page, and then I'll be presenting those in early to mid-May.
Because one of the things I'm trying to think of which year we started, because as we move closer to the 3-year, I'd love to see a 3-year comparison to just to have and take a peek at for my head.
Okay. On the special fund revenues, we have received this year about 16,585,000 compared to last year about 11,984,000. We're at 27% of our budgeted revenue this year compared to 20% last year. A lot of that is in welfare. We've received 3,332,000 roughly in revenue, and last year at this time we had received about 450,000. So that's the major one that stands out to me in the increase. On the expenditures, we have expended approximately 12,678,000 this year compared to 11,141,000 last year, and we're at 18% of our budget this year compared to 14% last year. Any questions on any of that? Our county debt is the same, I believe, as it was last month. So we have a balance of 16,550,000 roughly. You can see all the different types of debt here. Any questions on this? If nothing, then that's all I have on the financials. So I'll do a new share for the ARPA. So our ARPA projects, we and there's an error I'm going to point out to you on this before we begin. So this total, the board approved and obligated should be $12,968,901. So this Mason County Treasurer, the property tax amount is in here twice. This 49,932. This should be up with this property tax. It's already in here. So so anyway, we'll fix that for next time. Sorry about the confusion on that. But the expended and the balance remaining of completed projects and then balance remaining of open projects, I believe are the correct amounts. So just wanted to point that out in case there were any questions on that. So the balance remaining of completed projects, that's 604,531. And we just received the bill for the fiber project, and it came in way under what we had estimated. And TJ called and made sure that we weren't going to receive another bill, and that Kelle told us it was the final bill. It was just under 200,000. So we had originally had 425,000 obligated there. We moved 50,000 of that to the sheriff command vehicle outfit. That will be on the agenda for tomorrow. There. And that leaves 375,000. So we'll have about 176,000 roughly to move into this completed project. So we will have about
you said that the bill came in for that at what, 200 and some odd thousand?
no 198,000 and some odd change. About 199,000.
So let's just say 200,000. So we would have 225 left to allocate, and we've done 50.
She just added it on the bottom,
Should
Mark.
that be like 170?
176.
Yeah, she just added it on the bottom.
Sorry. All right, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so we'll reallocate that amount in here. So we have about 780,000 right now at this moment that we know we can reallocate.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we then can move on to the next topic, which is, unless there's any questions on any of the balances at this time on here. The open projects.
The signing bonuses, those are going to have to, come end of 2024, any amount that's remaining in that, we're going to have to allocate to something else. I think utility arrearages are pretty much done.
Yeah, I think all of this is pretty much done. All of these things, the property taxes for individuals. So yeah, these amounts we can move over into the completed projects. I'm fairly comfortable doing that.
Well, and just to be clear for the public, I don't think that by moving those over in there, I don't think the commissioners are saying that they're no longer going to do those. We still are trying to attract individuals. We would just fund it out of a different funding source for that. Is that correct, commissioners?
I'm comfortable with that.
I mean, the signing bonuses specifically.
I got you. Are we ready to commit that, Commissioner Trask? I don't mind committing that out of general fund.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either. I'm looking at the projects, and if you all are comfortable in moving them over, so I think most of them have already been accounted for, right? So that would be the top. So the 10, 29, 100, 250, 352, 375, 50, and the 37, or is it just those three?
So definitely these three, which is about 51,388 at this moment.
I'm comfortable moving those over.
Yeah, those three.
Beard's Cove, they're going out to bid on Beard's Cove, so
right.
that one I would not take out.
No, let's just do the ones that we know for sure right now. That gives us something to work on. Commissioner Trask, is Fire District 4 in your zone? I can't remember. At the end of down there by what is it? Agate area down there.
Yeah, I believe that is in mine.
Because I was at a function where they were talking, and they're going to come and talk to you or go to ARPA to get a few fire tanks for holding water to be able to put in different areas to spread out their fire protection areas, and perhaps allow for better insurance rates and stuff like that. And it wasn't very much. So
when did they talk to you?
I was at a meeting I'd say 2 weeks ago, a week ago maybe is all. So they didn't even know about that ARPA. I just mentioned, so I know they're gonna come talk to you about it. They just haven't had any time. It was a meeting they're at.
Okay, do you know, so they haven't reached out to Kate yet with their proposal or?
I don't
their
believe
request?
so. No, they're just putting it together. I believe it'll be under the 75,000. Matter of fact, it sounds like to have several tanks spread out, they're looking at maybe 60, which would be a good thing to have out there. So
Yeah, so because you brought that up and I was kind of gonna request this anyway, would we consider extending this 1 week for the request to come in before we talk about?
I'm good with that.
How's that sound to you, Jen?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can definitely extend it, the request to come in. Are you thinking like through the end of the month?
If we put it until the 30th, that gives them, people an additional week and 1 day to get requests in. And that this will also give us more time to take a look at the letters that we've received from people.
Yeah.
I'd like to spend just a little bit of time going over these so I have a full understanding of what the requests are and what the money would be used for.
Would you like to reach out to Mr. Commissioner I can't speak today.
Do you want to send me his name?
Yeah. Subnicki and Hershey were the ones that were there.
Who was it?
Greg Subnicki, Commissioner, and
okay.
Commissioner Hershey was there. Commissioner Bennett was on vacation. So would you like to reach out, or you want me to call them and have them reach out to you? What do you think?
I am looking to see if I can get their contact information.
I will send it over through Mark.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll update this spreadsheet too, and I'm thinking maybe another column for things like the signing bonuses where we're reallocating to the general fund would be I think that would be a good picture so that it doesn't get put back in the pool to distribute out to everyone. What do you think of that, Commissioner?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Yeah, say it one more time.
So things like this leftover funding or the funding that hasn't been spent for the corrections deputies, the signing bonus.
Yeah, I say move it over to the green now. We already agreed that if it comes up that it's still needed, we'll take it out of general fund.
Okay, I mean, but we can put this money into general fund now and then expend it on something else.
I got no problem moving it over into the green to reallocate. Commissioner Trask, where are you thinking?
Yeah, for now, let's put it into the green, just until we are comfortable with the letters or the requests that we've received on moving forward.
Okay. And then, so this one for Beards Cove, that one is going out to bid, so we will not be moving that. But this 250,000 for the Belfair Sewer Log Yard Road extension that Loretta briefed you on earlier, you're comfortable moving that project to the new project that she presented? Is that correct?
I like the idea.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, no, I think that would work.
If it comes up different, we'll make decisions at that point.
So I think all we'd need to do is revise the project name on this to include Romance Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would need to just move it in do it by action agenda.
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, great. So we'll do that one. this 352,000 left over on the, or not leftover, but it's on the DC Records archival image. So I mentioned at our last ARPA briefing, at the end of 2024, we will not be able to expend those funds through ARPA on that project. But what we can do is do a transfer of those funds into the general fund and continue to pay those temporary staff out of the general fund.
How much more, do we know how much longer how long is it going to take for them to finish this project?
I'm not sure, but we have this project budgeted out through 2026. So I don't know if they will be completed that time, if they'll be finished at that time, or if they're going to finish early. But this project definitely needs to be moved, or we will lose those ARPA funds,
Right.
whatever's remaining. So I think that we should do an estimation and then move those funds into the general fund. So if you're comfortable with that, commissioners, we could put that along with the Belfair sewer onto an action agenda. Or
Yeah,
we can wait, you know, till we do the rest of the projects. I just want to make sure it gets done before the end of the year.
Right. No, I'm comfortable moving them forward.
Yeah,
It-
six of one, half dozen, however you want to
Yeah.
get it done, Jennifer, as long as we get it done.
Okay, I don't remember what the amount was off the top of my head, but I'll work with Kathy on that number and then
Okay.
I'll bring it back at the next briefing, the final number before it goes to action agenda. But just wanted to make sure we're all in agreement that we can move at least some of that money over. So thank you. And then we'll move part of this, that we already talked about 176,000 back in the green. This one is brand new with the sheriff command vehicle upfit. The emergency management, the disaster response center, that one is almost complete. So hopefully they'll expend that in the next month or so.
But even with what we've done, we're already looking at 830 for reallocation. I think that's plenty, so I'm not worried about the other stuff at the moment.
Okay.
If we do any of that, I think we talked about it before that we would do internal reallocation for projects we're already doing.
Okay, great. So so you want to wait and go over the ARPA requests until early May?
That's what I heard the commissioner say, and I'm supportive of that. I'll give some time for them to get them in.
Right, and I'll get a hold of, so it looks like Kurt, Dean, and Greg, I'll get a hold of them.
And Greg
have
is the
them
chair.
contact. I'll contact Kate. Which one?
Yeah, Greg's the chair, and I already sent it to Mark, and I'm sure he'll send it over to you shortly.
Okay, yep, and I've got it up on my screen.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's all that I have for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
So funny, when she's done, it feels like there was a whole adventure we just took.
It always is.
Yeah. All right, Mark, what else you got for us?
Sorry, I was looking for the message.
And Mark, I've got their email addresses, so
Oh, great.
we should be
Perfect.
fine.
So I'm here to update you on the resolution, which is 2024-002, that established our salary commission. So as you all know, we've been tasked with supporting the salary commission. So myself and Diane and Mary predominantly have been attending the salary commission meetings on Monday night. They understand their deadlines and they're really trying to work hard to get to those deadlines and have information to the auditor by May 1st. During this process, there's been a few questions that came up, and also appreciate Tim Whitehead's advice and guidance that he has given us, as well as the salary commission, in terms of the stated intent of the original salary commission resolution and helped us actually make some corrections that we'd like to suggest to the board and bring that forward. So there is some, as you can see in your packet of materials, we redlined the existing resolution. So we corrected some grammatical errors. We wanted to specifically state the elected offices that are covered under the Salary Commission.
Okay.
And then we wanted to clarify under the powers and duties of the Salary Commission, the timeline associated with when these would go into place. There's a number of different scenarios that could happen. So just wanted to make sure it was clear within the resolution. So they would file it would go if we did not receive a petition for a referendum, or I say we, but it's Auditor Dunkel. If Auditor Dunkel does not receive a petition for a referendum to file, then they would go into effect as of May 1, but 30 days later. If there is a referendum petition filed, then there's a period of time that they have to try and collect signatures. If they don't get enough signatures, it again goes back to that May 1st timeline. And then if they did get enough signatures and it does go to a referendum and it goes on the ballot, if the constituents within our county approve the increases, it would also go back to that May 1st. And if they didn't, then it wouldn't go into place at all.
Tim and Mike briefed us on these changes, briefed me on them here recently, and I'm comfortable with them as presented.
And then the last part of that is just the change in the referendum language. So we just specifically cited the RCW that you'd go to see that.
Yeah, I'm comfortable. Commissioner Trask?
Yeah, no, it looks good. Yeah, and I appreciate Tim and Mike reaching out and walking me through this. The Salary Commission is doing a great job, so definitely want to extend our thanks to them. Also to you, Mark and Mary and Diane and Mackenzie. You guys have been great support for them. Also want to make sure that people know that the commissioners, well, me specifically, I can only speak for myself, but we have not been involved with this, and nor should we be. As electeds. We should be maintaining a distance because they are working as an amazing group. They're doing a great job also. So just want to make sure that the public knows that I am not voicing my opinion in any of this.
So I was invited for the very beginning to do an introduction, and I let them know that if they have anything from us or they want to talk to us, they're welcome to. But at this point, they have, other than the brief note of 150 to 200 words trying to describe our position. Good luck on that. I have not received an invite or anything like that, because I heard that they thought that we didn't show up, but I know we never received an invite, and without an invite, I had no intentions on going in there. It's their barbecue. So I think it's best that we've handled it the way we did.
So if you don't have any concerns about the suggested revisions to that resolution, I've asked to put it on the agenda.
Yes, sorry about that, Mark. I should have finished that one through. Commissioner Trask, are you good with putting it on?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Since Tim's been involved with it, the wording of it, I just don't know if I trust him.
I can tell you what, I've spent a significant amount of time this week with Jim Morrell and Mark and Diane, and there's been a lot of hard work put into this, and Jim's just doing a fantastic job. And I think everybody on that commission, they're doing a lot of good work.
Okay, so we have agreement to move it forward. Commissioner Trask, is that what I understood? Okay, so
Yep.
we have agreement moving forward, Mark.
Great, I will put that on the agenda, and tonight we have another meeting. Hopefully, I'm knocking on wood that they're going to be able to come to a final resolution and file that with our auditor, and we'll be able to move forward. So look forward to seeing the results.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Tim, also. I don't remember if I did or not. It's already been, 10 minutes, but
I don't need any thanks. Appreciate it though.
Hey, Mark, what else you got for us?
That's all I had for you.
Commissioner, do you have anything for Mark?
not right now.
Do you have anything for me? Any commissioner discussion? Because I don't have anything for Mark either.
No, I'm super excited for tomorrow.
Oh, was that sarcastic or no?
Maybe a hint of sarcasm in there.
I'm trying to think, what are we excited about? Okay, I got you. All right.
We've got a full agenda tomorrow, so
Yeah.
you guys are come rested.
Will Commissioner Schutte be here tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, I will entertain a motion, Commissioner Trask.
So moved.
I'll second. It's moved and second that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.